All right, hello everyone. It's been a while. Just wanted to jump on and make this video and talk about stress and anxiety. This is something that comes up probably for the majority of my clients, something I've dealt with in the past, and it's something that I see pop up on the Facebook group all the time. So I just wanted to share a couple of supplements that really help with my clients, that might help with you guys in dealing with this issue. So let's get into it. Before we get going, I'm not a doctor. If I was a doctor, I wouldn't be your doctor. I'm a health coach with independent qualifications and extensive independent research, particularly into what we're going to be talking about today. No treatment in this video is designed or recommended to treat any specific medical condition. If you're struggling with your mental health at any point, seek guidance and assistance from a medical health professional. All information is for educational purposes only. So, the two supplements we're going to be talking about are phosphatidylserine and ashwagandha. And these are two supplements that I use quite extensively to treat my clients in addition to hormone replacement therapy. But before we talk about supplements, it's important to identify that the best treatment for stress and anxiety is resolving the psychological fear or addressing the biological root cause. So these supplements will help with symptoms. They are a band-aid. They are not a cure. So what you want to be doing is you want to be using these supplements to build a foundation, kind of like a crutch if you had a broken leg, so that you can go out into the world and you can investigate and you can treat whatever the root cause issue is, so that eventually, ideally, you don't need to keep taking these supplements long term. Now, you can continue to use them long term and there will be no harm, but you want to address the root cause. So, phosphatidylserine, giant word, let's break it in half. Phosphatidyl means fat soluble. Serine is an amino acid. Easy. Fat soluble amino acid. So it's a food. It's found in animal tissue. It's found in meat. It's found in eggs. It's found in dairy. But in high concentrations, it's really only found in skin. And in the highest concentration, it's found in the brain, which makes sense because it is a fat soluble nutrient that has activity in the brain. So most people's diets don't contain robust amounts of animal skin and animal brain. And if they do, they're probably not consuming them daily. So the body can synthesize this amino acid from other amino acids, but it is not a priority when the body is under stress. This is what it means when it's a conditionally essential amino acid. It is essential for certain biological functions. So it was previously sourced from bovine brain, but since mad cow disease happened, it's a lot harder to manufacture and sell products containing brain, particularly in the Western world. So most, if not all, phosphatidylserine supplements that are on the market are either sourced from soy or sunflower. And we're going to talk about that in a sec. Dosing ranges from 100 milligrams all the way up to 1,200 milligrams. In terms of how much you'd be getting from food, something like, eating 100 grams of brain would be getting you closer to the 600 or 700 milligram mark. Typical dose is 100 to 200 milligrams to assist focus, with 100 to 600 milligrams to assist with relaxation and sleep. So this is one of the best studies done on phosphatidylserine. It's one of my favorite studies. And what it shows is that 800 milligrams of phosphatidylserine, which is a good dose, significantly blunted, and when I say significantly, I mean it really significantly blunted the body's biological response to stress in activating the adrenal production of cortisol. So in modulating this release of ACTH and therefore cortisol, it helps the body modulate its response to stress. And for people who have a very, trigger happy stress response, who get, triggered into a fight or flight state very easily, this is a very beneficial supplement to help the body recalibrate. This supplement was actually introduced to me by the late Dr. John Chrysler. And he often used 300 milligrams in his patients before bed and noted about a 30% reduction in cortisol levels. And he believed that this supplement helped to resensitize the HPTA axis to corticosteroids, and therefore allowing the body to better deal and manage with stress. However, this study, which I mentioned previously, was redone with a soy-based supplement, and it did not yield the same effect. It barely yielded any effect whatsoever. And what the researchers theorized is that it wasn't the soy itself that was the problem, it was a lack of fatty acids in addition to consuming the phosphatidylserine, that potentially stopped it from crossing the blood-brain barrier. So if you are using a phosphatidylserine supplement that is not in a fat form, being it's not in a soft gel, it needs to be consumed with some form of fat. Reduction in adrenal activation and stress response tends to improve mood, focus, memory, sleep, and perceived stress. It's non-sedating, it's non-impairing, and it promotes relaxation and mental clarity. So what do I see when I see clients use it? People tend to report improved sleep quality, and this is mainly in the field of staying asleep. I haven't really had anyone say that phosphatidylserine has been groundbreaking to help their insomnia regarding falling asleep, but I've had a lot of people report that it's the best thing for helping them stay asleep, particularly for the people who are waking up between 1 and 5 in the morning, waking up with a stress response, kind of jolted awake, and then not able to get back to sleep and tossing and turning. So it also tends to improve nocturnal and morning erections, and people also notice that they have deeper and more positive dreams. And I would argue that this is because the body is, not releasing a stress response in response to what you are dreaming about. So it allows you to have more enjoyable dreams, more peaceful dreams, particularly for people who are suffering from, disturbing dreams or nightmares. This can also be very effective. There's no hangover effect or morning grogginess. So it's not like taking a sleeping pill or another supplement that sedates you and kind of makes you wake up feeling a bit groggy and a bit under the weather. People tend to say that they wake up feeling fresh, feeling alert, and there's no kind of, hangover or residual effect. I also give this supplement, or I recommend this supplement to, new parents, because if they're taking something to help them with sleep, and then they wake up during the night, they need to be alert and they need to be able to do what needs to be done, but also to fall back asleep afterwards. Clients also report when they take it during the day, particularly taking it in the morning, improved memory, verbal fluidity, word recall, and focus. They just feel that their brain works a bit better, but it's non-stimulatory. They also report a reduced stress response to exercise when taking it pre-workout, particularly taking it pre-cardio. It synergizes well with stimulants to take the edge off. A lot of people will combine this with their morning cup of coffee or pre-workout, and they find that it helps take off the negative side effects from stimulants. I tend to see 300 to 600 milligrams work very well for men, and 100 to 300 milligrams work very well for women. So, ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is different to phosphatidylserine as it is not an essential nutrient to the body. It is a root, so it falls under Ayurvedic medicine, and it actually translates to smell and strength of a horse. And for anyone who's tasted ashwagandha, it smells awful and it tastes awful, so that makes sense why they're saying it smells like a horse. But they were actually saying that it actually promotes strength and virility in men. So it increases resilience, it increases capacity, it increases strength. And it was traditionally used in Ayurvedic medicine to improve sexual and mental health of men. It's available in various forms. You can get it in tinctures, you can get it in a dry root powder, you can get it in extracts, and then you can also get it in patented extracts. And the patented extracts are what I recommend because they're consistent in terms of their concentration of the active ingredient, but also in their preparation. So there's two that I prefer to use. One is called KSM66, and this is the most studied version of ashwagandha, and I'm going to be showing one of their studies in a moment. And it's also the reason why I prefer it is the traditional root preparation. So it is how it was traditionally used in Ayurvedic medicine, as close to as how they can get it. It's got a more balanced effect. Whereas sensoril, which is another form of ashwagandha, is a mixture of the roots and the leaves, whereas the KSM66 is just the root. So this is more sedating. It's also stronger in terms of per milligrams. And I tend to really only recommend this one for people who are using it, particularly for insomnia and getting to sleep. I really don't think sensoril is very good for daytime use unless you really, really struggle with anxiety. I think KSM66 is a much more balanced, all-round form of ashwagandha that you could use in the morning, or you could use at night before you go to bed. It synergizes very well with other compounds as well, particularly those that interact with GABA, which we're going to be talking about in a sec. But the important thing to note about ashwagandha as a root medicine, it interacts with multiple systems in the body. So it's not just affecting cortisol and stress, it's affecting a whole bunch of stuff. And this can result in some people not responding as well to it as they would to something like phosphatidylserine. So This is a study that was done on KSM-66, and we're going to go through the outcomes of this in a sec. So what they did is they used 300 milligrams of KSM-66 twice a day, and I believe it was done for 8 weeks, and then they noted the following responses. So after 8 weeks of taking 300 milligrams twice a day, the perceived stress scale reduction was 44%. So people noted a 44% reduction in their perceived stress. And this lined up with the serum cortisol levels being quite significantly reduced by almost 30%. The GHQ-28 scores are markedly reduced by 72.9%. And this is basically a survey that identifies psychiatric risk. And the greatest reduction was severe depression at almost an 80% decline. DASS domain scores dropped, and this is depression, anxiety, and stress scale by 71%, with the biggest decrease in, again, depression at 77%. This is a big shift for a herbal medicine in particular. This is huge, huge results. And what's also important is that this was a double-blind placebo-controlled study, and we can see that there was a massive difference between the ashwagandha group and the placebo group. So how does it work? It appears to enhance GABA-A receptor signaling. And what this means is it's making your body more receptive to GABA through the GABA-A receptors, meaning that GABA, which is basically your brain's version of the brakes, it's the calming neurotransmitter, becomes enhanced. So it goes further, it becomes more biologically active in the body. There's also some very questionable information regarding a repartitioning of serotonin activity from 5-HT1 to 5-HT2. I've seen some people make some videos and articles going into depth with this. This was a rat study where they basically gave them a stress test in terms of swimming and basically just pointed fingers at it aligning with a different medication that impacted the 5-HT2 receptor. So I don't think it's a conclusive study. It's also not done in humans. And when you read the study, it just doesn't make much sense. So I don't really take that into much consideration. It significantly reduces cortisol in chronically stressed individuals, as well as acutely in response to stress. The reduction in adrenal activation and stress response improves mood, focus, memory, sleep, and perceived stress, which have been reported in various studies on the KSM-66 website that you can check out. And it also has various antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and autoimmune modulating effects. It seems to improve sleep quality. Again, this was studied. And there's been a mild reduction in TSH levels and improvement in T4 levels in human trials as well as animal trials. So it does seem to improve thyroid function, and this could be part of its stress relieving property as well. So what do I see when people take ashwagandha? I see a significant reduction in perceived stress, as reported in the studies. People often report a bit of an I don't give a fuck attitude. The acute relaxing and mildly sedating effect, there's a bit of a typo. So basically what happens is when you first start taking ashwagandha, the acute effects are quite pronounced, and then it lingers and builds up over time. And over time, as you continue to use the supplement, those build-up effects kind of increase so that you don't really notice the acute effect as much. I have not seen a tolerance build. People report improved sleep latency, so they get to sleep faster. Improved resiliency to stress, so people feel like they can take on more tasks. This is what, it was used in Ayurvedic medicine for. It reduced stress, so people felt more vigilant and more able to go out into the world and conquer and do what they needed to do. However, as a herbal medicine and as particularly a nightshade, I have noticed inconsistent effects. So some people simply do not respond well to ashwagandha, whereas phosphatidylserine, people respond to very consistently because it's an essential amino acid for the body. So what I see is inconsistent effects on energy levels. I see some people, they wake up in the morning after taking it and they're groggy and their stress just gets plummeted so low that they just basically don't give a fuck about their responsibilities in the world. They become lazy, they become a bit despondent, and they just don't feel, they don't feel charged, they don't feel good. I've also seen inconsistent effect on libido and sexual function. So in some studies, it massively improves sexual function. In other studies, it actually reduces it. And this is what I see. I see some people, and this is basically an aphrodisiac for them. It takes their libido through the roof. But I've also seen other people notice erectile dysfunction from it. and a completely, muted libido. So it does impact everyone differently. When we do use GABA-based products or supplements, it is always going to have a varying degree on libido because libido is multifactorial. As I said, inconsistent effect on morning wakefulness. I've also seen, in terms of the energy levels, I've seen some people get an energetic response to ashwagandha. They take it, they feel good, they want to go out in the world, they want to get out and do stuff. It's energizing. Whereas for most people, it's sedating. So you've kind of got to work out how it's going to work for you. So it's best to, experiment with this on like a Sunday afternoon and see, does this make me want to go for a walk? Does it make me want to go out to the gym? Or does it make me want to lie on the couch and chill out? And then you can kind of work out when and if you want to take it. I also do see occasional GI distress and autoimmune response. Often the GI distress will resolve over time, and often the GI distress is more geared towards the people who are using the whole root or using non-patented extracts as well. But it is a nightshade, so it can, for some people, it can cause an autoimmune response. For other people, it can actually modulate the autoimmune system. So it's just very varied in how people respond. It's a medicine for some, and it's not for others. So in terms of treatment approaches, phosphatidylserine comes first, in my opinion. It's consistent, and it's an essential nutrient to the body. If phosphatidylserine does not cut the mustard and something stronger is needed, then I think ashwagandha is a good choice. Ashwagandha is energizing for some and sedating for others, as I mentioned. So most take it before bed, but it can be taken AM, it can be taken PM, or it can be taken at both times. I recommend 100 to 300 milligrams of phosphatidylserine before bed for everyone, whether you're male, female, on hormone replacement or not. I think it's a great supplement for everyone to promote better quality sleep, and I'm yet to see a side effect. It seems to be a brain nutrient that also helps to promote and keep the brain healthy as we age. So again, I can't see a downside to it, and I'm yet to see one. I prefer KSM 66 ashwagandha in doses of 300 to 600 milligrams twice a day, or if it's only going to be taken once a day, I prefer to use 600 milligrams. Both compounds synergize very, very well. Ashwagandha is also effective for acute social anxiety or stressful events. So for people who don't want to take it chronically, it can be used, kind of in place of like a mild benzodiazepine, for social anxiety or just doing shit that you don't want to do or shit that you're nervous about. So great for some guys before they go on a date, great for some guys before giving a presentation, great for people, before getting on a plane, that kind of stuff. 600 to 900 milligrams, I think, is a better dose to use acutely. If you're very sensitive to it, you could get away with 300 milligrams, but as a once-off, if you're in a scenario like that, you're probably going to need a little bit more. So these are the products I recommend. Not financially affiliated with them, they're just good. So the Jarrow ashwagandha on the left, that is KSM 66. It says it on the ingredient label. So that's a 300 milligram capsule of KSM 66. It's very affordable. Secondly, we've got GABA Soothe by Jarrow. This one's a bit more expensive, but by no means is it, too expensive. And this is a synergistic product of sensorial ashwagandha, theanine, and what's called pH GABA, pharma GABA. And what this is doing is it's got 3 ingredients. So we've got pH GABA, which crosses the blood-brain barrier and acts as GABA within the brain. We've got theanine, which is a precursor to GABA production. And then we've got ashwagandha, which increases the brain sensitivity to GABA. So you've got a triple approach to promote rest and relaxation. This is very, very good for people who struggle to fall asleep. Very, very good for people who are withdrawing off, sleeping pills or anything like that. And is just great to take before bed if you have trouble sleeping. PS100 is my preferred source of phosphatidylserine as it comes in a soft gel. It does also come in a capsule, so make sure you get the soft gel form. The label looks the same, but it will specifically say soft gel or capsule when you buy it. And I do believe it also comes in a bigger bottle as well. The two on the right are the stronger approaches. And this is for people who are, really wanting to get into their rest and relaxation and have something strong. So the Support Max product contains a high dose of ashwagandha, a high dose of phosphatidylserine, and also a bunch of synergistic nutrients like theanine and lemon balm. This is a very, very strong sedating product to take before you go to bed to improve sleep, but also to improve your recovery and performance the following day. The PM priming product is essentially a very high dose of phosphatidylserine combined with theanine and alpha GPC, which is to basically promote a rest state and a dream state as well. So they're the stronger ones for people who are needing something stronger. And it may also work out better value to, be taking that rather than taking, 3 capsules of ashwagandha and, 5 capsules of phosphatidylserine and maybe some theanine as well. You can kind of get everything in one scoop and not have to throw down, 10 or 15 pills. So they're my recommendations for that. I really hope that helps you guys. I've seen these supplements completely change people's lives, either when used in isolation or used synergistically. I've seen people, not be able to leave the house because they're so anxious to be, going down to the store and, chatting up the girl behind the counter. I've seen some great responses to these very, very quickly, and they work very well. So I really hope that helps you guys. If anyone wants to get in touch with me, I do one-on-one consultations, and I've also got my email address there. So hit me up if you need anything, if you have any further questions. And yeah, hope that helps, and I look forward to chatting with you also.
Before we continue, if you appreciate the content we bring to this channel, check out the Amazon links in the description of this video. These are the links to the products we use, going from supplements, protein powder, pre, post, intra-workout, anti-aging cream, sunscreen, needles and syringes to inject, and so on. If you'd like to purchase one of those products, please use the direct link so that it will earn us a few cents as a tip, and you'll be guided directly to the products we recommend. Thanks in advance.
All links should work on the US, Canadian and UK Amazon stores. And now give this video a thumbs up and go watch one of these videos to learn a ton more about TRT and hormone optimization.